Welcome to BoBeats and this little tutorial on the Novation Circuit components website. My name is Bo and I run the YouTube channel BoBeats, and I make videos on music production and creativity, and I do tutorials and so on. So in this video we're going to take a look at the components website. The components website is your go-to place for loading patches, samples and even sessions into the circuit and also backing it up. So what you're seeing now is pretty much the place where you start out. If you go to components.novationmusic.com, this is what you will see. Or first you are prompted to log in, and you can log in using, for example, Facebook. In order to have your circuit connected, you have to check up here in the left corner here, circuit is connected, and there has to be this green little dot. In order to do this, you have to use a USB cord connected to the circuit and then press scales, note and velocity, those three buttons, at the same time as you start up the circuit. Then you are, I think it's called in the bootloader mode, and then the circuit should be connected. So let's start off with some terminology. Sessions is basically the different songs or song parts that is on the circuit if you press the session button on the circuit. Samples are the 64 samples or 60 seconds of samples that you can load if you press shift and drum 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the circuit. Patches refers to the SYX files that is generated by the circuit editor that you can load into the circuit in order to change the way the synth engine works. So patches are not samples, patches are just data files with different settings for the macro knobs and for the sound. And let me do some self-promotion. If you want to check out my patches, they are available over on Isotonic's webpage. You can check a link down in the description. Now, let's take a look here. First, you have to choose sessions, samples and patches. And you have to choose if you want to keep the defaults, clear the grid, upload, get from circuit, load from pack. These are your options, and this is where I would start out. If you keep the defaults, what you'll get is the default samples or rather, let me say it like this. If you keep the defaults for all sessions, samples and patches, you will get the sort of preset stuff that comes with the circuit. If you clear grid, the components site will just create an empty grid. It doesn't mean that anything changes on the circuit, and we'll get to that. If it shows upload, you will be prompted, if I click it here, upload, you will be prompted to pick something up from the computer. If you press get from circuit, the circuit will transfer the data from itself into components website. So remember, anything you do on the component website does not affect the circuit in itself until you press either send pack or here send to circuit. And a load pack basically means that you can load a pack that is saved onto the components website. So if I press it, I can choose from a list here. Here are some backup, a test, and another test, and my demo of sounds that I made. And you can basically choose from that. And then it loads those what is saved in those packs onto the components website, not onto the circuit itself. It only loads when you press send pack or send sessions or send samples or send patches. You can also access Novation's different things here. There are Team Novation Circuit Pack and Factory Circuit Pack. So here's a good way. If I want to go back to the factory circuit, I can just the factory pack. I can just click here and I get everything. So let's start off by checking what these do. So if I click keep defaults, you will see what happens. Now the sessions loaded 16 demo sessions that actually come with the circuit. Now if I would to press send to circuit here, I would send the session data, only the session data, onto the circuit. Now if I press change content, I can just choose again here, clear grid, upload, get from circuit, load pack. Same menu as we had before. And we can also press download sessions. Now we generated a SYX file here, which can be very good to have in order to back up what you've actually done. But I'm not going to do anything with the session data here. I'm actually going into samples. So we're in the sample menu now. As you can see, I'm prompted to choose keep the defaults, which basically loads the default samples. We can press that, and here you can see. So when I press keep defaults, what happens is you can see all the different circuit samples that is default for the circuit when you buy it is loaded into the components website. All the 64 ones. From here I can, for example, download samples. I can choose send to circuit, which then starts transfer process, sends the samples, and I can change content. So let's change content. Let's clear the grid, because I don't want to get from circuit. I only have my own Christmas samples on it, so I don't want to load those. I don't have a pack that I want to load from. I basically want to clear grid and start anew. So I click clear grid, and now I get 64 empty spaces, and also down here you can see the remaining time. There's 60 seconds of sampling memory that you can use in order to load samples into the circuit. So let's load some samples into the components website. Basically what I do is I press add sample, and I scroll through my different stuff here, and I have a lot of samples here that I can pick from. You won't be able to hear the samples right now, but let me pick kick 1. Now it's here in slot number 1 here. I could also drag and drop the sample files into the components editor. And I can do this until I've filled up all 64 slots, or until my 60-second sample memory is up. What I can do now is I can fill it up, and then I can press send to circuit. And when I press send to circuit, it will transfer the samples onto the circuit. I could also press download samples, which doesn't download one of the samples, it downloads all of the samples into one SYX file that you can then load back into the components website if you want to. So let's say here I have my kick here, kick number 1, and I go into patches. Patches are the synth patches. So in synth patches I get the same basic prompts here. Clear, upload, get from circuit, load from pack. Let's say I have synth patches on the circuit I want to use. So let me just press get from circuit. It will then very fast, because the file sizes are small, but it will very fastly get the data from the circuit. So I press here, get from circuit. And suddenly what happens here is it has filled up 1 to 32 with my own patches. These are the patches from my own patch collections, the Coffee and Beats Volume 1 patch collection. Self-promotion, you can find the link in the description. Because my patch collection is only 32 patches, if I press 33 and 64, it's empty. So now I could press here, number 33, and press replace patch, and I could choose a new file, a new synth patch. So if you bought, for example, a pack collection from Isotonics, for example, what you do is basically go into the patches, and you could press get from circuit to get the presets you already have on the circuit, or the patches already, and then just replace the patches that you want to replace with the ones you bought. That's a pretty straightforward way of doing it. So now we have a session content, the demos, we have samples, one sample here, and we have patches, my patches. Let's say I want to make this into a pack. Then you just press save here, and we call it tutorial. I press OK. So now it's saving this pack onto the cloud for later retrieval. And as you can see, now we have a user pack called tutorial. And as you can see, the menu change, you can now overwrite this pack or save as a new pack. If you want to send all data, session, samples, patches to the circuit, you just press send pack to circuit. But remember, if you do that, you can see here, all session, samples and patches will be overwritten. So if you're afraid that you might have messed something up, you can just send sessions, samples and patches by themselves. And this is a pretty straightforward and simple way of keeping track of things. So for example, I could just press send to circuit on sessions, sending only the session data. I could press center circuit on the samples, only sending the samples. And I can press center circuit on the patches, only sending patches. That way you don't affect the samples or the sessions. So it's a pretty easy way to do it. So what else is there to know here? Well, basically if you press new pack up here, you will just create, you will get back to where you started basically, where we got when we first loaded into the components website, and it's just, a clean slate. We can upload packs. If we have packs on the computer, we can upload them. We can also get packs from Circuit, which basically just, we can do that. We can do that right now. As you can see now, when I pressed get pack from Circuit, it starts to get all the session data. It's getting the samples, which takes a longer time because it's more bytes of data as well. And then it will also get all the patches. Basically gets the state which the circuit is in currently. So basically when you start off going into components, you could just start off by getting the pack from the circuit and then saving it as a new pack. This is a very fast way to back it up. So for example now we have my patches here. We have my samples. These are the Christmas samples that I've loaded, and we have the session data. And now we can just press save here, and we call this Christmas. Okay. Saving to cloud. So now I've done a backup on the components website. Now there's also other things you can do. You can change the colors, for example. If we go into sessions here, you can change colors. You can press here and you can change colors, for example. It's, you can do this on the circuit as well. So it's not that much to think about. So I think that's basically it. These are the sort of the main things you have to think about. So this was my tutorial on the circuit and the circuit components website. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave them down in the description. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up because it really helps my channel. If you're interested in supporting me in another way, you can always pick up my Coffee and Beats Volume 1 circuit pack from Isotonics. The link is in the description. Or you can head over to Patreon and support me there as well. So, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas as well, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, just have a nice winter holiday if you have any, and I hope to see you in the next video. So, thank you so much for watching.